This is breaking news.
Right now, Governor Murphy is at a newly opened vaccination mega site in Morris County. He's marking the start of vaccinations for the state's law enforcement and fire professionals. Let's go to that now.
Lost getting to patients while we don our PPE. There is still no guarantee that not only could we contract the virus, but the scarier reality is that we can possibly bring it home to our loved ones. A lot of you here have spouses or family members that also work in the emergency services or on the front lines in the hospital, just further increasing our chance of exposure. My wife, Melissa, who is also a career firefighter, and I jointly decided that when the vaccine became available, we not only wanted to protect ourselves, but to protect each other. We look forward to the days ahead that will bring some normalcy. Being able to travel again, go to a football game, visit our family, and see all of our friends. This vaccine is the first step in us moving in the right direction. Thank you, Governor Murphy, for bringing this vaccine to not only first responders, but hopefully in the near future to every New Jersey resident. I'd now like to introduce Governor Murphy.
Thank you, Jay. I'm going to touch first.
Yes, sir. She already got it.
She did?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Well done. Let's hear it one more time for Jay Alderton. Jay. I met Jay inside before I had put 2 and 2 together and realized that he was going to introduce me, so we go way back, at least 20 or 25 minutes. Thank you for that introduction and for stepping forward this morning, along with your colleagues from the ranks of our first responders, to be among the first to receive your vaccinations. I just asked Jay, hearing what his wife does for a living, whether or not she's going to get hers, and you said she's already got it. So hats off to both of you. This is a cavalcade of folks here. I'm going to probably leave some folks out, but I want to acknowledge a few folks in particular. The woman on my right, not you, Judy, but I'll get to you in a second, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill. Mikey, what a treat to have you here. Governor Dick Cody is in the house, or in the parking lot, I should say. Senator Tony Bucco. Tony, great to see you, and thank you. Assemblywoman Betty Lou DeCroce, dear friends. Rockaway Mayor Mike Puzio. Mike, what happened to you? There you go, right here. Don't forget, we got to get a picture afterward. County Commissioner Director Steve Shaw. You'll hear from Steve. And I want to say hats off to you and Morris County and the whole team, and to your fellow commissioners. I know Tafin Salin is here, and others. County Administrator John Bonani, who's been great along the way, and many other ventures. Sheriff James Gannon. Acting County Prosecutor Bob Carroll, at least I saw earlier. Bob, you still here? Atlantic Health CEO Brian Granulotti. Brian, thank you, and to the Atlantic Health team. Dover Mayor Carolyn Blackman. Carolyn, I see you. Great to have you here. And we're also joined by numerous leaders representing our police and fire unions, and more on them in a minute. From our team, the woman who needs no introduction, now to my left, the Commissioner of the Department of Health, Judy Persicelli. Judy, as always. Attorney General Grabir Graywall. General, bless you. And the Superintendent of the State Police, Colonel Pat Callahan. God bless you, Pat. And I think I can make news and say that the 74 troopers who went down in emergency duty in our nation's capital are on their way home today. So in one piece, thank God. Dr. Lisa Howe is also here with us, the Acting Adjutant General for the New Jersey National Guard. And that is important to note that we are deploying today, tomorrow, and Sunday what will be a total of 500 brave members of the New Jersey National Guard, and they'll be down in Washington for a while. I spoke with the Secretary of the Army yesterday. They're deeply thankful, deeply appreciative, and every one of the 9 million of us in New Jersey are incredibly proud of our Guard, as we are of our troopers and other law enforcement. So on behalf of our team, we just had the opportunity to tour the vaccine mega site here at Rockaway Town Square Mall. The team here has the capacity to handle, I think they said 2,400 vaccinations a day. I hope the feds give us enough supply sooner than later so that we could do 2,400 a day. This site is now open for our heroic frontline healthcare workers and for our police and first fire first responders. As I said on Wednesday, our decision to open up the line for our police and fire personnel was simple. They have similarly put themselves in harm's way for more than 10 months. They've responded to medical emergencies, sometimes being the first on site. They have been the ones responding to calls of large parties or other super spreader gatherings where compliance with masking and common sense was low, but the risk of infection was high. And as Pat has reported, sadly, from time to time, they have even been spat upon while on duty by some knuckleheads who have claimed to have had COVID. So I'm proud that we are able to provide them with this added level of protection as they continue to do their jobs. And I'm grateful to a handful of the union leaders who are with us, and I want to give them a shout out by name. Firemen's Mutual Benevolent Association VP Wayne Wolk is here. State Trooper Fraternal Association President Wayne Blanchard. Wayne, good to see you. International Association of Firefighters First Vice President Anthony Tarantino and Treasurer Matt Caliente. And I will say those two guys and myself and a few others were together yesterday on a virtual bill signing a bill in memory and in name of Dominic Marino. Fraternal Order of Police Sergeant at Arms Ken Hawkins, Pete Stylianisis, President of New Jersey State Troopers Non-Commissioned Officers Association, State Trooper Superior Officers Association President Frank Serator. I also want to give a shout out, I believe all in absentia, but they have been very helpful at every step of the way. State PBA President Pat Colligan, FMBA President Eddie Donnelly, State Fraternal Order of Police President Bob Fox, who just sent me a picture the other day with his 96-year-old mom, who's in a long-term care facility and was in line to get her her vaccine, and IAF President Steve McConlog. And Steve's had a very rough past month. Keep him in your prayers. And I want to thank them for their advocacy for and leadership on behalf of their members. As each first responder walks in here to raise their sleeve and be vaccinated and join the healthcare workers who have received theirs, we thank them not only for all they are doing to save lives and protect our communities, but also for being role models by showing their faith in the safe and effective vaccines at our disposal to help end the pandemic. And when we are ready to move forward, this mega site will be a place for the general public to come to receive their vaccines. With hundreds of thousands of pre-registrations already received, we know there will be a strong demand when that day arrives. Where's Brian? Brian, I am especially grateful to the team from Atlantic Health, which has stepped forward to take on many of the logistical and day-to-day responsibilities of running this site. I also want to thank the Rockaway Town Square Mall management for making this space available to us. I'm equally grateful to Colonel Callahan and his team from the New Jersey All Hazard Incident Management Team, who have been working alongside Atlantic Health to get this site up and running. Lisa, I want to thank you and your members of the Guard who are inside here helping get this done. Morris County has done an extraordinary job. Steve, to you and your team. You know, Rockaway Town Square Mall has been an important part of Morris County's and the region's economy since your graduation year from high school, Steve, 1978. It has been a gathering place for family and friends. It has been the home of businesses small and large. It has provided jobs and entertainment. And for so many, it epitomizes suburban New Jersey life. But right now, the flip side of this is its quiet walkways mirror the realities of many communities. However, we know that better days are ahead, and Rockaway Town Square will play a new, active, and vitally important role in this region and indeed our state's recovery from the pandemic. As I've said many times, public health creates economic health, and this mega site will lead us forward in this pursuit. So again, to everybody who has played a role in setting this site up, I thank you. And to everyone who will come here to get vaccinated, I also say thank you. Especially today, we salute and honor our police and fire brothers and sisters. You all saw what happened in the nation's capital a couple of days ago. And is there any doubt if there was one person you wanted to be in the foxhole with on Wednesday, it was this person. Please help me welcome an extraordinary leader, a veteran of armed services and service to our nation, Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill.
Well, it's really so wonderful to be back here in New Jersey. I actually made a midnight run back to Jersey. I was just in D.C. yesterday, and it's wonderful to be here today. Our country is going through some tough times right now, but this provides such hope for the future. About a year ago, when we set up Operation Warp Speed to get a vaccine out to millions of people across the world, people thought it couldn't be done, that we couldn't get the vaccine manufactured, the research and development done, and here we are today seeing that happen, and it's truly, truly amazing. And it wouldn't be happening without the partnership of so many people. I know I've worked with all of the people you see here, our governor, our senator, wonderful assembly people. Like, I know I've been talking to Assemblywoman Ora Dunn over time on how we make sure that we really get this out to people here in Morris County and take care of so many people that need it. So many of us just went through the holidays wondering when are we going to get back to normal? When are we going to be able to really bring together family and friends, especially those of us that have older parents? When are we going to just be able to hug them routinely? And this provides that path forward. And it's wonderful today to see so many of our first responders getting the vaccine. I always, because I'm a little bit of a wimp with needles, so I always love to see the tough guys kind of turn away, because that's what I do. So it makes me feel a little better about myself. But seeing them get vaccinated today, seeing that we're protecting our first responders as they've been protecting us for so many months was truly, truly wonderful. I do have to say it's wonderful to hear our National Guard will be supporting us. We can use the support down in D.C., and it makes me feel a lot better. We'll have New Jersey down there. I know we have our New Jersey State Police headed down as well. Some are already there. That makes me feel wonderful about keeping our Congress safe and being able to move forward in Washington on the things we need to do. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I will tell you too, yes, we need to get all of the distribution out. But the last coronavirus package included $20 billion for vaccine procurement, therapeutics, and $9 billion to the CDC and states for vaccine distribution. So hopefully that money will be going out quickly so we can continue to get everyone vaccinated. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mikey. And thank you for everything, including literally, you got to hear the stories, her personal leadership on Wednesday. Ora Dunn, I see to myself, boy, it's good to see Ora here. And then I proceed to get up and forget to introduce you. Assemblywoman, we have to give her a special round of applause. Ora Dunn. Sorry about that. Okay, with that, Mikey, thank you so much for everything you do, fighting for us. We know that stimulus or that help was a down payment. God willing, there's more to come, and thank you for being in there fighting for us. Please help me welcome the woman who needs no introduction, the Commissioner of the Department of Health, Judy Persichilli.
Thank you, Governor. Yes, today is a day of hope, hope for a future better than the present that we live in. Thank you to Morris County leadership, Atlantic Health, all of the local officials, all hazard incident management team of the state police, the National Guard. This is a form of collaboration that you only see in New Jersey. And it's because our leader, the governor, lets us do that. They tell us, follow the science. He tells us, follow the science, follow the data, and do what you have to do. And this is what happens. The state's megasites will serve as vaccination hubs for phased rollout, phased priority groups, part of a critical network of 6 megasites throughout New Jersey, along with over 200 vaccination sites that are currently operating from North Jersey all the way down to Cape May. Initially, this site will be allocated 1,000 doses of vaccine. We want it to be more, but we need more vaccine availability. At their full availability, they will be able to vaccinate over 2,000 patients a day. These sites today will be immediately available for the phase of 1A. Healthcare workers, our long-term care facilities are being taken care of in their homes, and fire and police. New Jersey's phasing will ensure that the limited vaccines that we have will be distributed in an equitable manner. With each successive wave, we will get closer and closer to the general public, and hopefully by May, this will be fully operational, vaccinating 2,500 individuals a day. We encourage everyone who is eligible to be vaccinated right now to register. 650,000 individuals in New Jersey registered on the New Jersey site yesterday. So lastly, I have to give a huge shout out to a woman from our staff at the Department of Health who has worked tirelessly to bring up this site. Terry Clancy, thank you so much, Terry. Thank you. The work that you've done has been phenomenal, and we couldn't do this without Brian Granulotti and Atlantic Health. This is what collaboration is all about. These mega sites will be vital to helping the state meet our goal of vaccinating 70% of the adult population in 6 months when vaccine is available. So all of you are playing a great part in saving lives in New Jersey. We can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. I don't know where we would be without you. And I think you'd agree with me, this is a if you build it, they will come moment, and we'll begin to slowly but surely widen the circle of folks who are eligible. But we continue to have a big supply-demand imbalance. We need more out of the feds. We've also got to hand over from one administration to another, and this is incredibly complex. But God willing, as the next number of weeks go on, that imbalance begins to slowly but surely cure and correct itself. When you're opening up vaccinations to police and fire, you have to have the chief law enforcement officer of the state of New Jersey with us, and it's my honor to introduce one of America's great attorney generals, Gurbir Grewal.
Good morning, everyone. I want to thank Governor Murphy, and I want to thank Commissioner Persicelli, everyone at the Department of Health, everyone at OEM, everyone who made this site possible. I'm thrilled that we're opening up these 6 mega sites, and I greatly appreciate all the efforts that went into making vaccinations available on a priority basis for law enforcement and fire professionals across our state. You know, we're living in a world that was difficult to imagine just a year ago, enduring a global pandemic, experiencing protests on a scale that we would never have imagined. And as we saw just this past Wednesday, witnessing unthinkable horror in an attempted coup attempt of our newly elected government. There's been a lot of uncertainty over the last year, but in the midst of all that uncertainty, we could be certain of one thing, and that's that our first responders will rise to the occasion. That no matter the challenge, no matter the situation, they are ready to run to that danger, to protect public safety, to ensure our well-being and welfare. That includes the 74 troopers who went down to Washington, D.C. at a moment's notice, leaving their families behind, not knowing what awaited them down there, to ensure our public safety and our way of life. And it includes the brave men and women of law enforcement who put themselves at risk on Wednesday, including Officer Brian Sicknick, who passed away from the Capitol Police because of injuries related to what transpired this week. So in the midst of all this uncertainty, I want to thank all the law enforcement professionals for their dedication, their bravery, and their heroism. And it's incumbent on all of us to make sure that they all have the tools to do their jobs safely and effectively. And in this new reality, those tools include this vaccination. So I once again want to thank everyone who made this site possible, the governor and the commissioner for prioritizing our first responders. And I want to encourage all of our first responders to take advantage of this vaccine, to sign up, to get vaccinated, to help us in our efforts to combat this global pandemic. So again, thank you for having me, Governor. Thank you for your efforts and your leadership at this uncertain time.
Thank you. Good. Gurbir just tells me Giles Shipp is here. I didn't see you, Giles. Nice to see you. President of Noble National Organization of Black Law Enforcement and co-chair of the Sentencing Commission that we stood up very early on in our administration. Great to see you. Pat, I'm putting this on for 2 reasons. One is a salute to you, and 2, because I'm incredibly cold. So I want to applaud the good judgment of the people who found these space heaters. I was told, don't worry, there are heaters out here. Yeah, we got 3 heaters in a parking lot the size of MetLife Stadium. With that, I mentioned Betty Lou, you're with me on this, right? I mentioned that on a moment's, and Gabir just reiterated, on a moment's notice, 74 troopers went down to Washington. Mayor Muriel Bowser called, the police chief and Pat engaged deeply. I was on with the Secretary of the Army, as I mentioned yesterday, about our deployment. As usual, New Jersey stands tall. And whether it's in law enforcement, whether it's in fire, whether it's in our National Guard, no state can touch us. Please help me welcome the Superintendent of the State Police, Colonel Pat Callahan.
Good morning, everybody. 2021 marks the 100th anniversary of the New Jersey State Police. We were started by Colonel Schwarzkopf, a West Point grad, in 1921, 3 years after the Spanish flu pandemic. So we did not have a playbook to go to like we do for Super Bowls or large-scale events or hurricanes or natural disasters. So everybody inside of this mall and those around the state are writing that playbook for the next time, God forbid, that happens. Maybe it's 100 years from now. I hope it's never. People often ask, why is the Office of Emergency Management in the state police? There's only 2 states in this country where that's the case. It's here and it's in the state of Michigan. And my simple answer is because it works. Whether you need to send 74 troopers to D.C., whether you need to send 100 to Puerto Rico, whether you need to send 40 to Houston in the wake of Hurricane Harvey. And it's not an egotistical or bragging. It's simply because it works. And as evidenced on the 6th day of 2021, when Washington, D.C. put out that request for Jersey troopers, we got on a bus and went to Washington, D.C. It is a tremendous source of pride for me as a Jersey trooper. And this vaccine will save lives. We memorialized a lot of New Jerseyans over the past several months. About 10% of our enlisted members tested positive, and I think that held true for the 30,000 plus law enforcement officers throughout New Jersey. But we lost a lot of retired troopers to COVID-19, up to and including one of my friends on New Year's Eve. He was healthy as a horse, Lieutenant Jim Bryan, and I had to call his wife Brenda on New Year's Day and offer my condolences. He had just retired a few years ago, and I don't want to make those calls anymore selfishly. So the fact that this mega sites and sites like it around New Jersey are up and running, special thanks to, certainly, as Judy said, to Terry Clancy, the National Guard, all of our OEM partners. It is a team effort. And just like with other challenges, I trust that the entire nation looks to this great state and says, how is New Jersey doing it? And they're doing it because we do it right here. God bless you, everybody.
Thank you, Pat. I'll keep the hat on. You know, Pat, to that last point, Pat will attest to this. He got, literally on a dime, we had 74 troopers headed to Washington, and your fellow superintendents and colonels in other states around the country said, how come you guys? And there's a reason. Because every time and again, we answer the bell. So thank you for your leadership, and to all your colleagues, bless them, each and every one of them. I said this privately to Steve, I will say it publicly, Morris County runs like a top. And if you get a chance to get inside and see this operation, it's an incredible joint venture. OEM, troopers, Guard, Atlantic Health, volunteers. I met 2 school nurses who are volunteering. It's state resources, obviously, but Morris County is really shining bright. He's here with a number of his colleagues, but I want you to welcome, and I won't make the mistake, Steve, the Commissioner Director of Morris County, Steve Shaw.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Welcome to Morris County. I think we can store some of the vaccine out here today. I don't want to keep everybody out on this cold day any longer than needed, but I'm going to, because this is an occasion where some brief reflection is warranted. This is a tremendous logistical undertaking by Morris County in partnership with Atlantic Health System and the state of New Jersey. Our Department of Law and Public Safety, along with the Offices of Public Health and Emergency Management, have worked tirelessly through the holiday season with Atlantic Health to identify and transform this empty retail space into a large-scale, safe, secure, regional vaccination facility. Once again, Morris County is demonstrating its steadfast commitment to allocate the resources necessary to protect the public health. We anticipate being able to inoculate 2,400 souls daily at this facility as soon as we're provided with the sufficient vaccine to do so. Thank you, Atlantic Health, for your contributions of staff and assets, Governor Murphy for your support, and everyone in our Department of Law and Public Safety, including our Offices of Public Health and Emergency Management, the National Guard, our sheriff and his officers, and the healthcare workers and volunteers that have made this possible. I sincerely mean that, because when I talk about the tireless efforts of our staff and volunteers, I'm talking about men and women that have been working at this from the beginning of the pandemic. It's almost been a year. They're the same men and women who set up what became a state model for county response back in March. The same people with Atlantic Health who established our first drive-through testing center with no federal aid. The same men and women who have continued to work at with Atlantic Health at our testing facility that we have operating at our County College of Morris. When we're home sleeping, these folks are working to protect us. We get texts and emails at 3:30 in the morning with updates on their status. They don't stop. I've witnessed this huge empty shell be transformed in a matter of weeks. And I'm in construction. Nothing ever gets done in a matter of weeks. But what really struck me, I paid a visit here on New Year's Eve, and everybody was working. They had smiles on their face. And I asked a few people, I said, "What are you doing tonight?" And they said, "We're going to be right here, sir. We're not done yet." And they didn't stop there. They've actually reverse engineered our countywide network that we use to mobilize the first responders to get out the word to make sure they know that this site's open and they're ready to get in line, the A1 community as we refer to it. Our sworn law enforcement personnel, fire professionals, again, both paid and volunteer, our first responders, public health officials, and individuals serving in healthcare settings, as well as residents and staff of long-term care facilities. There's 100 people working here today. We anticipate we'll have 150 people when we're fully operational with our vaccine. This pandemic and the toll it's taken on our community, our nation, and the world is just about a year old now. I know what we're doing here today is the first step in putting this nightmare in our rear-view mirror and will help to open the road to getting our lives back to some semblance of normalcy. We're not done yet, but I promise you this, we will keep working here and throughout the county and the state until we are done. Thank you, and God bless.
Great job. Really well done, man. Thank you, Steve, and once again to you and your Morris County colleagues, from the bottom of our hearts, we say thank you. Job well done. Last but not least, I know you were going to say we got another 18 speakers and a PowerPoint presentation, but that's not the case. One more speaker. We have to hear from him because Atlantic Health, from moment one, Brian and I have known each other for a number of years, and Judy will attest to this. We may have known each other, but we've not known each other like we have over the past 10 months. And as usual, Brian, you and your team have answered the bell as the partners in this mega site. So please help me welcome the CEO of Atlantic Health System, Brian Granulotti. Thanks again, man.
So the Attorney General just mentioned I'm between you and warmth. So this will be quick. You know, we have 17,000 dedicated professionals that work every day to try to serve our communities. And over this period, we've taken care of over 17,000 COVID patients. And we do see light at the tunnel with this vaccine, and we are leaning completely into this so that we can get out as much vaccine as we can to the members of the community. And today is perfectly fitting because what that takes is a public-private partnership. And in 21 days, this thing got turned around because everybody just put aside all the rules, all the regulations, and said, let's figure out how to get this done, and let's figure out how to work to make that happen. And that all takes leadership, and those leaders have been recognized, and it's been a great effort. I want to call out Kevin Joyce, who led this from our team. Kevin, thank you for doing this, and thank you to all the Atlantic Health team members. And I think it's incredibly fitting that today this really launched with first responders, because being an ex-EMT, I really appreciate that. And you guys are all, and women are just so incredible in this health ecosystem. So thank you for everything you do. And I'm going to turn it back over to you, Governor.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, sir. Great job. So I want to go over a draft of what my State of the State address. Thank you so much, everybody. Morris County, Atlantic Health, troopers, OEM, National Guard, our extraordinary leaders here, especially the woman on my right who's fighting for us in Washington every day, and the woman on my left who's saving lives every day in New Jersey. To each and every one of you, especially to our first responders, police and fire especially, who as of this week are now able to get vaccinated. To each and every one of you, we're not out of this yet. My fear is the next few weeks are going to be really tough. I think you'd join me in that prognostication. But there is no question there is light at the end of the tunnel. And today's gathering, what's going on behind us right now, is as good a piece of evidence of that as any we can find. God bless you all. Stay safe.